As I said, hi, Nick Selma. I am doing a daily podcast now for about 10 minutes a day. Just thoughts on the day, just trying to come up with sort of a stream of consciousness just for funsies and see where it goes. We'll add stuff later on. We'll have a plan later on, but for now, it's mostly just going to be my ramblings. Today I got some interesting mail. I got my strike authorization vote card from SAG-AFTRA. And there's been a lot of talking about the upcoming strikes and the writers union, the actors union, and the directors union, and all these guys coming up on their negotiations. So a couple of points that I had to throw into it. First of all, anything to do with the Writers Guild, go follow Adam Conover. He has been on the ground with this from the beginning. He really knows what he's talking about, and he knows sort of exactly what's going on with the negotiations from the writer's perspective. I don't know what the studio's perspective is on anything, and quite frankly, their perspective really probably should just be pay the writers, come up with something. I don't care what. And worry more about artificial intelligence. In general, I think we should probably all worry a little bit more about artificial intelligence, not because it's not a great tool. Artificial intelligence, I think, has a great future in automation. Being able to do easily automatable tasks with an intelligence level would be hugely beneficial to the economy and to skilling up the economy, because as you get rid of what you might think of as the more mechanical jobs and you can give those over to automation, theoretically that should free up more jobs for creative capital or for higher levels of management. So it's going to, in the long run, benefit us. The problem is there's been a weird push to use artificial intelligence specifically in capacities of the things that make us uniquely human. That's not great grammar, uniquely human, because you are either unique or you are not, but I digress. Creative expression has always been something that is very, very human. Computers cannot express on their own. We have to program into them the things that they express. So they are in themselves an expression of human creativity. So why would we force feed an algorithm other people's output to create sort of a Frankenstein? Like, that's the thing people have to remember, is that an artificial intelligence does not create originally. We are a long way off from the sci-fi future of, oh my God, this is a computer thinking independently. Now do we have to think about if robots have souls? No, we're not there. We're not even close to that. Even computers that do have the ability to do some kind of independent call and response, that call and response is still programmed in. There is some machine learning, but the machine learning itself is programmed in and limited by people. We can imagine easily a future where the machines have the kind of learning capability that would allow them to really expand beyond that, but that's a long, long way into the future. We can't think about that. We really can't. What's disturbing right now, though, is this sort of corporate push to figure out, hey, what if we treated these jobs that are artistic as automatable jobs? Kind of started with AI art, right? Like you have an AI program and you basically tell it, okay, reach out as far as you can into the databases of the internet, which are huge, of course, and pull in all the random stock images that people put up as like, hey, I'm trying to express myself through art. Ugh, God forbid the AI ends up on Tumblr. Sad boy AI. Oof. But they pull from all these places, and then you tell the AI what to create, and it uses that database of information to create it. So the AI hasn't actually created anything. It has amalgamated a number of different inputs and created this output based on those inputs. It's like if I fed an equation into a computer, yes, it would give me the output. It would give me the answer to the problem. Or I should say it will give me an answer, because if I don't put in the right output, it's still limited as to what it can or cannot give me. So the question is, why do we want to dumb down the things that we love? Why do we want to dumb down creative expression? Why do we want to dumb down writing? Why would everybody, the argument about network TV, oh, it's formulaic, it's sure. But so is everything. But just because it's formulaic does not mean that anybody can do it. Just because something is simple does not make it simple to execute. The formula itself is very, very simple, but you still need a PhD to understand it, right? Like a physics equation technically can be very, very simple. Gravity is very, very simple, Your weight is your body's mass times gravity. Gravity is a fixed constant. Very, very simple. Coming up with that fixed constant was not simple. It wasn't as simple as a guy sitting under a tree and Apple smacks him in the dome and he goes like, I've discovered gravity, my God. And no, that's not how it worked. Something fell, hit him on the head, and he thought, that's an interesting cause and effect. I wonder if I can replicate that. And he went about trying to replicate it. And that's why we have Newton's laws of physics, because Newtonian physics is dictated by what he spent a long time discovering, and as well as what people after him spent time discovering. AI could not independently develop the theory of gravity. AI can take the theory of gravity in once it's told and do calculations based on it, create outputs based on it, can even probably create 3D renderings of things consistent with the gravity inputs that have been put into it, the coefficients of friction that have been put into it. But all those things have to be given to the AI. You simply cannot expect a computer program to independently come up with those things. So if we circle back to our creative discussion, the writers of like NCIS, for example, yes, the show is formulaic. You have the team, dead body, they're chasing down the bad guy, more dead bodies, they find the bad guy, bang, 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 they solve the case, or they don't solve the case. But it is a pretty, it's X plus Y ends up at Z. But the bits and pieces in there that aren't formulaic are the characters, the dialogue, the way these individual pieces come together into this simple formula that creates a captivating and interesting story. So why would we want a computer to just take a Frankenstein version of every NCIS script ever written and then be like, oh, this is what comes out? Why this long rant about AI taking over creative expression? Because automation has always been meant as a way to save money on the bottom line. You took the Henry Ford automotive plants of the day and you replaced probably 80% of that workforce with automation. Ultimately, that ends up being a safer workspace. But you still lose all those jobs. One might argue that those jobs are just going to be lost in an upscaling economy. That's fine. The problem is you can't squeeze from the top and the bottom, right? When I say the bottom, I don't simply mean the fact that labor jobs are the bottom. What I'm saying is that you can't automate both labor jobs and creative jobs, because then what's left for people to do? What? Go live in buildings and do nothing but code to support the AI that runs everything else? That seems silly. And you're still, even if you do that in a creative space, you're still going to end up with white writers' rooms, because even if the AI is the showrunner, it still needs inputs. So you're still going to have writers' rooms, and the writers' rooms are just going to have to be bigger because you're going to have coders in there too, because the AI gets an input in wrong once, and if it gets an in wrong once, it learns based off that input. It doesn't correct the input. It builds forward based on that input. If you put in one faulty assumption or one bad script, it builds on that, and that becomes part of its programming. So you're going to end up with a lot more bad scripts. Human writers can learn, hopefully. Same thing goes for actors. Look, these upcoming strikes are going to be very, very important for legal details, other things like that. I'll get into that more tomorrow. Today was my rant about artificial intelligence and what I think of it. Might make sense, might not make sense. If it does make sense, well, we'll see if I make sense again tomorrow. Nick Salma, have a nice day.